Ladies and gentlemen, in a world that constantly demands our attention, it can be easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We chase success, wealth, recognition, and material possessions, believing that these will fulfill us. But let me tell you something, true fulfillment begins when we place God first in our lives. Putting God first is not just a phrase, it's the foundation upon which we build our strength and resilience. Life will throw challenges at us, but when we have faith and trust in a higher power, we find the courage to stand tall in the face of adversity. It is through this unwavering belief that we tap into an unshakable force, a strength that empowers us to keep moving forward no matter the obstacles. When we put God first, we gain clarity. We no longer wander aimlessly, caught in the chaos of everyday distractions. Instead, we find a sense of purpose and direction. Decisions become clearer, our values become sharper, and our goals align with a higher calling. It is this connection to something greater than ourselves that gives us the wisdom to walk the right path. But here's the thing, God's timing is not our timing. We may want things to happen on our schedule, but God's plan is always better, even when we can't see it. There will be moments when we doubt, when the road ahead seems unclear, but trust in God's plan. He is leading us exactly where we need to be. And in those moments of uncertainty, our faith becomes the compass that guides us, reminding us that His plan is greater than our own. When we talk about putting God first, it begins with understanding the foundation of strength that faith provides. Life is full of challenges, trials, and moments that test our resilience. These obstacles may come in many forms: personal loss, health struggles, financial hardship, or emotional battles. But in those moments, it's easy to feel as though we're alone or that the weight of the world is too much to bear. This is where the concept of putting God first becomes not just a spiritual practice, but a powerful tool for enduring and overcoming hardship. At the core of our faith, God is our ultimate source of strength. Unlike the fleeting power derived from wealth, status, or influence, the strength that comes from a relationship with God is unshakable. It doesn't rely on external circumstances or the ups and downs of life. In fact, it often flourishes in times of adversity. When we put God first, we tap into a source of power that is both unwavering and eternal. It's not the strength of our own doing, but the strength that flows through us when we trust in something greater than ourselves. Think about the countless stories from Scripture where individuals faced unimaginable challenges. Yet through their unwavering faith in God, they were able to persevere. Whether it's the story of Job, who endured immense suffering but never lost his trust in God, or the Apostle Paul, who faced imprisonment, beatings, and shipwrecks, but continued to spread his message with boldness. These examples remind us that the power to endure hardship doesn't come from human willpower alone. It comes from putting God at the center of our lives and relying on His guidance and strength. Putting God first doesn't mean we are free from pain or struggle. Rather, it means we have a support system that never fails. When we make God our foundation, we no longer have to face life's challenges in isolation. We have a divine presence walking with us, providing wisdom, comfort, and peace during our darkest moments. This kind of strength isn't about powering through situations with sheer determination. It's about surrendering to the will of God and trusting that He will equip us with the necessary tools to overcome. One of the greatest aspects of this divine strength is that it's not dependent on our own abilities. As humans, we are limited, and there will be times when we feel as though we've reached the end of our rope. But when God is our foundation, we are reminded that our strength isn't based on what we can do alone. We don't have to have all the answers or all the resources. Instead, we can lean on God's infinite wisdom and understanding, knowing that He will lead us through the trials we face. This foundation of strength creates a mindset shift. Rather than approaching difficulties with fear or anxiety, we are able to face them with courage and faith. The knowledge that God is with us transforms how we approach life's challenges. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated, we find ourselves with a peace that surpasses understanding, because we know that we are not fighting these battles by ourselves. We have the Creator of the universe on our side, and with Him, all things are possible. In the end, the foundation of strength that comes from putting God first is not about being invincible or immune to hardship. It's about having an unshakable belief that no matter what comes our way, God will be with us, empowering us to rise above and move forward. Putting God first is a powerful guiding force that provides us with purpose and direction in life. In a world that often encourages us to chase fleeting ambitions, success, and materialism, we may find ourselves adrift, unsure of where we are headed or what truly matters. The pursuit of personal achievements, while important, can sometimes leave us feeling unfulfilled, questioning the deeper meaning of our existence. But when we place God at the center of our lives, everything changes. We gain a clear sense of purpose, one that transcends the temporary and touches the eternal. Purpose is the driving force behind everything we do. It's what motivates us to get up each day, face challenges, and continue pursuing our goals. Without a sense of purpose, life can feel aimless, like we're simply going through the motions. But when we make God our priority, we tap into a divine purpose that guides and shapes our actions. This purpose isn't just about achieving success in the conventional sense, it's about aligning ourselves with God's will and fulfilling the role He has planned for us. Our lives gain meaning beyond our personal desires, and we begin to see ourselves as part of a much bigger picture. God's guidance leads us down paths that may not always align with the world's expectations, but they are always in line with His greater plan for us. As we seek to follow God's lead, we find that the decisions we make are no longer driven solely by our own ambitions or the pressures of society, but by a deep sense of what is right and just in God's eyes. Our goals are no longer centered around personal gain, but instead focus on serving others, making a positive impact, and honoring God with our lives. This shift in perspective provides clarity in decision-making. When we put God first, we become more attuned to His voice and guidance, which allows us to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence. The path forward becomes less about guessing or trying to figure out what's next on our own. Instead, we follow the directions laid out by God's wisdom, trusting that He will guide us where we need to go. His word serves as a lamp to our feet, illuminating our way and protecting us from the distractions that might lead us off course. This divine sense of purpose is not just confined to the moments when everything is going well. Even in times of struggle, when we feel lost or uncertain, God provides the direction we need to keep moving forward. His presence gives us the strength to endure and the courage to keep pressing ahead, knowing that there is a higher purpose behind every challenge. These moments of hardship become opportunities for growth as we lean on God for direction and trust that He is shaping us for something greater. Ultimately, putting God first means surrendering our will to His and trusting that His plan for us is far greater than anything we could imagine. When we align ourselves with God's purpose, we experience a life of true fulfillment, one that isn't driven by the empty pursuits of this world, but by a deeper calling to serve, love, and honor the Creator. The direction He provides isn't just about finding success in this life, it's about leading us to a place where we can experience peace, joy, and a lasting sense of fulfillment that comes from walking in His will. Trusting in divine timing is one of the most powerful and humbling aspects of putting God first in our lives. We live in a world that thrives on immediacy and instant gratification, where we are accustomed to getting things quickly, whether it's information, success, or even answers to our prayers. The culture of now can make us impatient, anxious, and dissatisfied when things don't unfold as we expect. But divine timing teaches us a different way to look at life, a way that encourages us to trust that God's plan for us is always in motion, even when we can't see it. At the core of trusting in divine timing is the understanding that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. We may pray for something, work hard for a goal, and believe that we are ready for the next step in our journey, yet it seems as if everything is moving at a slower pace than we anticipated. This is often the moment where doubt and frustration creep in. Why is it taking so long? Why is the answer not here yet? However, God's plan is not governed by our timeline, and therein lies the beauty of His timing. What might seem like a delay is often a season of preparation, a time where God is working behind the scenes to ensure that everything is set in place for the right moment. We must recognize that God sees the bigger picture. He knows what is best for us, even when we can't comprehend the full scope of His plan. Our understanding is limited to the present moment, but God operates in eternity with a vision that stretches far beyond the immediate. The delays, the unanswered prayers, and the waiting periods are not signs of God's absence or indifference. They are signs of His wisdom, of the trust He places in us to wait, and the faith He calls us to have in His perfect timing. There are countless examples in the Bible of individuals who had to wait for God's timing, and their stories offer us valuable lessons. Abraham and Sarah waited many years for the promise of a child, but they eventually became the parents of a nation. David was anointed king, yet he spent years running from Saul, preparing for the moment when he would finally take the throne. Each of these individuals had to endure seasons of waiting, but their faith in God's timing ultimately led them to the fulfillment of His promises. In our own lives, waiting can be uncomfortable, especially when we feel ready to move forward. It can be difficult to stay patient when we feel as though time is slipping away or when things seem stagnant. But in these moments, we are called to trust that God knows the best time for us to receive what He has in store. He is not withholding good things from us, rather, He is shaping us, teaching us, and preparing us to be ready to receive His blessings in the right season. Trusting in divine timing also means surrendering control. It's a humbling experience to realize that we don't have all the answers and that we are not the ones orchestrating the course of our lives. When we put God first, we acknowledge that His timing and His ways are beyond our understanding. This surrender requires faith, a deep belief that even when the waiting is hard, God is faithful and He will deliver what we need at the right time. When we learn to trust in divine timing, we discover a peace that surpasses understanding. We no longer need to be anxious or fearful about what the future holds. Instead, we can rest in the knowledge that God is in control, and He is leading us step by step toward the fulfillment of His purpose for our lives. Overcoming adversity is an inevitable part of life, but it's in those moments of struggle that we truly discover the depth of our faith and strength. Life will always present challenges, some small, others monumental. The loss of a loved one, financial struggles, health problems, or emotional pain can shake us to our core. Yet when we put God first, we find the strength to rise above these obstacles and emerge stronger. Not because of our own power, but because we lean on the unwavering support of a higher power. One of the most transformative aspects of putting God first is the ability to overcome adversity with a perspective grounded in faith. When we face hardship, it can be easy to feel defeated or isolated, but when God is at the center of our lives, we are reminded that we are never truly alone. The challenges we face are not a reflection of God's absence, but rather a chance for us to grow, trust, and rely more fully on His strength. It is in these difficult moments that God reveals His power in ways we may not fully understand at the time. When we look at the stories of individuals in the Bible who faced immense adversity, we see a common thread. They overcame their struggles not by their own might, but through their unwavering trust in God. Take Job, for example. He endured immense suffering, loss of wealth, family, and health, but he never lost his faith. Even in his darkest hours, Job acknowledged God's sovereignty and trusted in His plan. He questioned, he struggled. But ultimately, he placed his hope in the understanding that God's purpose was greater than his immediate suffering. Job's story is a powerful reminder that adversity, though painful, is temporary and is often a tool used by God to refine and strengthen us for something greater. Similarly, the story of David and Goliath teaches us that adversity can seem insurmountable, but with God on our side, no challenge is too great. David, a young shepherd, faced a giant when all others were too afraid to step forward. Yet with nothing but a sling and his faith in God, he defeated Goliath. The adversity he faced was not a stumbling block, it was a stepping stone to his destiny. In the same way, the obstacles we encounter can either defeat us or propel us forward, depending on whether we choose to face them with faith or fear. The key to overcoming adversity is recognizing that our strength does not come from ourselves. When we put God first, we are reminded that it is his power that sustains us. In our weakest moments, we can tap into a strength that is far beyond human capability. It is in our surrender to God that we find the power to endure, to push through, and to rise above. The Bible assures us that God will never leave us or forsake us, Deuteronomy 31:6. His presence is with us in every trial, every setback, and every difficult season. Overcoming adversity also requires a mindset shift. When we face challenges, it's easy to focus on the problem, to become consumed by the difficulties we are facing. But when we put God first, we begin to see adversity through a different lens. We understand that hardship is not just an obstacle to overcome, but a lesson to be learned. God uses our struggles to refine our character, deepen our faith, and prepare us for the next chapter of our lives. Through adversity, we grow in patience, resilience, and compassion, qualities that serve us not only in our personal journey, but also in how we can serve others. Finally, overcoming adversity with God at the center means finding hope in the midst of hardship. It's about knowing that the pain you're experiencing is not the end of your story. God has a plan for you that extends far beyond your present circumstances. When you trust in him, you can find peace even in the storm, knowing that his love and faithfulness will see you through. Gratitude and humility are two of the most transformative virtues that arise when we put God first in our lives. In a world that often promotes self-sufficiency and personal achievement, it can be easy to forget the importance of these qualities. However, when we make God the center of our existence, gratitude and humility become natural expressions of our relationship with him, shaping how we view the world, interact with others, and experience our own blessings. Gratitude is the acknowledgement that everything we have, everything we are, is a gift from God. It is easy to become caught up in the pursuit of more and more success, more wealth, more recognition, and forget that every good thing in our lives is a direct result of God's grace. We tend to focus on what we don't have rather than what we do. Yet when we truly put God first, we begin to understand that every breath, every moment, every opportunity is a gift from him. In this recognition, we learn to be thankful not only for the big blessings, but also for the small ones, the health we often take for granted, the relationships that enrich our lives, the beauty of nature, and then the simple joys of everyday life. Gratitude brings us into alignment with God's will by helping us see life from his perspective. It shifts our focus away from self-centered desires and redirects it toward the understanding that we are stewards of the blessings that we've received. By giving thanks to God, we honor him for the abundance he has provided and express our trust in his continued provision. The more we cultivate gratitude, the more we realize how richly blessed we truly are, and this perspective allows us to approach life with a sense of peace and contentment. Humility, on the other hand, is the recognition that despite our accomplishments, we are ultimately nothing without God. It is easy to become prideful when we experience success, thinking that we have achieved greatness by our own efforts. But humility reminds us that all our abilities, talents, and achievements come from God. When we put God first, we are reminded that we are merely vessels through which his grace flows. Humility doesn't diminish our worth or accomplishments, rather it deepens our understanding of our place in the grand scheme of life. Humility enables us to view others through the lens of compassion and empathy, understanding that just like us, they are also children of God. It helps us move beyond judgment and competition, replacing it with a spirit of unity and love. When we are humble, we don't see ourselves as superior to others, but as equals in need of God's mercy and grace. This perspective fosters a spirit of cooperation, kindness, and understanding, both in our personal relationships and in our broader communities. When we put God first, gratitude and humility are not just attitudes, they become ways of life. We see our successes not as personal triumphs, but as opportunities to give God the glory. We use our resources, talents, and time to serve others, knowing that everything we have is a gift entrusted to us by God. Our humility becomes a testimony of His greatness and a reminder that we are all called to serve and uplift one another. Gratitude and humility also work together in the process of spiritual growth. Gratitude opens our hearts to God's love, allowing us to experience His presence more fully, while humility clears away the barriers of pride and self-centeredness that can hinder our relationship with Him. Together, they create a fertile ground for transformation, enabling us to live in harmony with God's will and to grow in faith, love, and grace. In this way, gratitude and humility are not just virtues we practice, they are the fruits of a life lived in surrender to God's will. When we put God first in our lives, one of the most profound effects is how it impacts those around us. As we live with faith, purpose, and integrity, we naturally inspire others to do the same. The way we carry ourselves, the decisions we make, and the love we extend to others can become a beacon of hope and encouragement. It's not always about what we say, but how we live and the example we set through our actions. Inspiration is rooted in authenticity. When we are truly committed to putting God first, our lives begin to reflect His love, His values, His purpose. People are drawn to those who live with purpose, who act with integrity, and who show genuine care and compassion for others. In a world often filled with uncertainty and selfish ambition, those who live out their faith become a source of light for others who are searching for meaning, peace, and direction. When we make God the center of our lives, it becomes evident in how we handle challenges, how we treat others, and how we respond to success and failure alike. This authenticity creates a ripple effect, inspiring those who witness it to take a deeper look at their own lives and consider how they too can put God first. Our actions speak louder than words, and the way we handle adversity is one of the most powerful ways we can inspire others. Life is full of struggles, and while we can't avoid hardships, we can choose how we respond to them. When we face difficult circumstances with faith, hope, and trust in God's plan, we become living examples of His power and grace. Others are watching. And when they see us stand firm in our beliefs, continue to love, and remain positive despite the challenges we face, it inspires them to do the same. Our strength becomes their strength, and our resilience becomes a model for others to follow. Inspiring others through faith also means sharing our stories. Each of us has a unique testimony, times when God has shown up in our lives in miraculous ways, times when His grace has carried us through tough seasons, or times when we've witnessed His goodness in the smallest of moments. These stories, when shared, remind others that they are not alone. They provide hope to those who may be struggling or doubting, showing them that God is always present, always working, and always faithful. We may not always know the impact of our words, but by sharing the ways God has moved in our lives, we plant seeds of faith in others, encouraging them to trust in His timing and purpose. Inspiration isn't limited to grand gestures or extraordinary acts. Often it's the small, everyday moments where we demonstrate love, patience, and kindness that have the most profound impact on others. Simple word of encouragement, a smile, or an act of service can go a long way in brightening someone's day and reminding them of God's love. When we put God first, we become instruments of His love and peace, spreading hope wherever we go. The influence we have on others doesn't stop with our immediate circle. As we live out our faith in the workplace, in our communities, and in our families, we become part of a larger movement of positive change. Our example can inspire others to seek God, to serve others, and to live a life of purpose and integrity. Even those who may not share our beliefs are touched by the love and compassion we offer. And that influence can have a ripple effect far beyond what we can see. Ultimately, inspiring others is about living a life that reflects the love, grace, and truth of God. When we put God first, we naturally inspire those around us to do the same. Through our faith, actions, and words, we become the living testimony of God's greatness, showing others that there is a better way to live, a way that is rooted in love, service, and faith. This is the power of inspiring others through our commitment to putting God first. In conclusion, putting God first is not just a principle. It is a transformative way of life that touches every aspect of our existence. It gives us strength to overcome adversity, guides us with purpose and direction, teaches us humility and gratitude, and empowers us to inspire others. When we place God at the center of our lives, we align ourselves with His will, trusting that His timing and plan are perfect. Through challenges and triumphs alike, our faith in God becomes the foundation that sustains us, the compass that directs us, and the light that shines for others to follow. As we continue to live with God at the forefront, we not only grow in our own faith, but also become instruments of His love, spreading hope and encouragement to those around us. Ultimately, putting God first leads to a life filled with peace, purpose, and the profound understanding that we are never alone in our journey.